Thanks for being here today. I wanted to let you know that a significant portion of this webinar will feature a live demonstration that shows the steps necessary to ready your Read Live account for student access. By rostering students, creating staff members, we'll create schools, and everyone will receive a recording of the webinar at the end within 24 hours. Feel free to play it back and pause here and there when you need to. It can be a lot to take in all at once. All right, let's get going. The agenda and processes I am demonstrate follow along with the steps and instructions you have in the handout. There should be a link in the handout in the meeting chat. This is a great takeaway in case you don't use what you learn right away and need a refresher when the time comes. You'll also receive this, a copy of the handout in the follow-up email after the webinar. And our agenda for today, we'll talk about the Read Live suite of products, our ClassLink rostering and single sign-on solution, our Clever single sign-on solution. We have a Google single sign-on solution. We'll talk about logging in, adding schools, adding staff members. We'll also talk about adding students either individually or by import. And we'll talk about some additional training tools for teachers that they can get extra training if they need to, all on our website. So the 4 products, our 30-year commitment to students and teachers has led to innovative programs and possibly some confusion when it comes to Read Naturally Live, Read Naturally, Read Live, and Read Naturally Live. So let's break it down. Read Naturally Live is our company. We've been dedicated to the success of students and teachers for over 30 years. We are dedicated to building foundations for brighter futures with a variety of flexible and tailored programs. Read Live is an online suite of products that utilizes the science of reading to deliver measurable results for struggling and developing readers of all ages. Read Naturally Live is an online program that is a component of the Read Live suite. This program combines an intrinsically motivating system with the best evidence-based practices to deliver results fast. With your subscription to Read Live, your students have access to the entire suite, 4 highly effective applications that will help make students better readers. Read Naturally Live is our flagship application designed to improve reading fluency, promote vocabulary, and support comprehension. The content includes material for early 1st grade to 8th grade students. Word Warm-Ups Live is Read Naturally's research-based phonics intervention. Its audio-supported lessons allow individualization of phonics instruction and enable students to work independently. The content includes 3 levels, 1, 2, and multisyllabic words. 1 Minute Reader Live is an independent, structured reading activity for developing readers. Content is geared toward early 1st grade readers to mid-5th grade readers. Students can read independently without a teacher's help. And finally, Read Naturally Live Español. The entire student Read Naturally Live interface is delivered in Spanish for bilingual learners, and that content goes from level 1.5 to 5.6. So with one license, a student has access to all of those applications. So let's start out with, we're talking about the solutions we have to roster your Read Live account with student information. Okay, so one of our solutions is ClassLink rostering with single sign-on. So this is the whole caboodle. So ClassLink rosters or creates the roster and sends it to Read Live to a secure file transfer site that is configured in the Read Live staff module. You would want your ClassLink administrator to work with you on this. So if you are a Read Live administrator out there and you want to connect with ClassLink, reach out to your ClassLink administrator. Once it's configured, ClassLink is the where the roster comes from. We can't roster in Read Live anymore at this point. If you're doing ClassLink, it all comes via ClassLink. And some of these terms are kind of technical, so I understand that. If you'd like to speak to someone personally, you can reach out to us at our support line, 1-800-788-4085, option 3, or you can email us at support@readnaturally.com for any kinds of questions regarding any of this material. We want to hear from you. I do want to note that none of the single sign-on options are compatible with an iPad. So we would do our traditional, or on an iPad, students would use the iPad app. It is free from the Apple Store. So that is ClassLink rostering. I will show you these in the staff module once we get that far. We provide Clever single sign-on. Okay, so this is only a single sign-on solution. Your Clever administrator would request the Read Live app from the Clever administrative dashboard. The Read Live administrator would get a Clever district ID from the Clever administrator, and we would populate that into the staff module. Students would then either be added individually or via an import process that we have, which would include the student's email address. So in summary, if the email address in Read Live matches the email address in Clever, and that student has the Read Live app in their Clever dashboard, they will be able to log in via SSO. Okay, so they would just click on Read Live and they would log directly in without having to enter additional credentials. But again, I want to make sure you understand Clever solution is single sign-on only. The students will still need to be rostered in the Read Live application, either individually or by import. We also provide a Google single sign-on solution. This is if you're a Google Classroom site or school, teachers are using Google Classroom, we can provide, again, as long as the student's Read Live account includes their Google email address, and they use this particular link that I have listed here. And actually, Christy, would you make a note? There's an update to this link, and I didn't catch it in my PowerPoint, so we want to send out this link at the end. Actually, if you could log into a Read Live account, go to Student Administration, and then single sign-on, choose Google. There's a link in there, and it will give you the new link that the students need. So this special link would be posted in the Google Classroom, and students would click on it to be able to log directly into Read Live without additional credentials. And that is Google single sign-on. I'm going to now jump into a real Read Live account, and I am going to demonstrate some of these things that we have talked about. So again, our login page to the staff member login is readlive.readnaturally.com, and that would bring you to this page right here where you would choose student or staff member. And we're going to log in as a staff member. The account I'm using is this number, but you have your own numbers that are out there that are logging in as administrators. So I am logging in as an administrator. Helps when you don't have your caps lock on. And this is our new implemented MFA multi-factor login that we've just implemented. So I just got my code. So here is our landing page. When you first log in, you can learn more by going to this orientation and resources page. Here are some main steps that you need to do as an account administrator. If this word or if this says you're a teacher role, many of these things I'm talking about you will not have access to because they are administrative steps that we need to take. So this kind of outlines what it is you have to do and takes you to those particular places. I'm going to run through that right now. So I'm just going to go back to the home page. And this is our landing page. This is the log or the staff member page that will be used by teachers and administrators. Administrators will see these first three tiles at the top. These are our setup tiles. Okay, so accountant, school administration, staff member administration, student administration. This is what we're going to do to set the account up and ready it for student use. I'm going to start at account and school administration. This is just an analysis or an overview of what the account looks like. My account has 200 total licenses and 150 are available. And when my subscription ends, the name of the account, who the main account contact is, and of course you can change this. If you have a different administrator, you can choose a different person. The main account contact is the person that gets our quotes, our renewal information, important details about the application, those types of things. So that is the person you would want to be listed here. And now to the right, this happens to be a multiple school account. So my schools are listed here. And it's simple enough to edit a school name. So I can just click on the school name and I can type whatever I would like it to be. Michelle's Elementary. Okay, this has to do with our licensing, Read Naturally Live licensing. So the top choice, school can use any available license within the account. That means if my account has 200 licenses, I have 5 schools, first come, first serve. Okay, if they're gone, when they're gone, they're gone. So again, first come, first serve. If you want to reserve a specific number of licenses to a school to satisfy a purchase that maybe a school made on their own but want to join a district account, you could put that specific number in here. And then regardless, this school is going to get 50 licenses. All right, so, and that shows right here under the licenses, I showed Michelle's Elementary and I reserved 50 for that school. The other schools, Midland, after that first 50, Midland can use as many as they want, and so forth. So if you are in the process and you've just got a brand new account, your school name up here by default is named My School. Again, come to Account and School Administration, click on the word My School, and you can edit it to be what you would like it to be. And this does show up on reports and so forth. So you can add as many schools as you need in the account. But this is your Account and School Administration tile. This is your first step. Create your schools, edit your school names. I'm going to click the navigation here. This is another way to navigate the application. These 3 lines will take you anywhere the home page did. So these are all the same destinations, just a shorter, maybe one less click to get there. So logically, in a setup situation, we'll go to staff member administration, and here's where you're going to add your teachers. Okay, so we will just click add staff member at the top. And I am going to add Jimmy Kimmel. And his role will be a teacher because he will be working with students in the account on a regular basis. And I'm going to put my email address in. So what the email address does is when I say, I have a hard time here, talking and typing. So when I click save and close here, an email is sent to that person or to that new teacher that has a temporary password and an instructions to get logged in. So right now, Jimmy just received an email with a temporary password and instructions to help him get logged in. If you have a large account and you have a number of staff members in your account, or it really doesn't matter where you're at when you're looking at teachers or staff members, anytime you see these three navigation lines in front of a column heading, we see here, we see them in first name, you can click that to filter students. So I'm just going to filter by Cindy, or actually just CIN, and apply. And now I only see the students whose names begin with CIN. To clear the filter, this shows me I have a funnel and a filter is set. I would just click those lines again and click reset to bring my entire list back. So again, you can do this for any of the columns that have this little icon associated. So I'm in the school column right now, and I just looked for only Midland Elementary, and now I will reset it. So you may get a question from your team or from your teachers that says, I didn't get my password, I lost it, I don't remember I don't remember. You can come to the staff member administration page and click reset, and this will send that teacher a new temporary password. It is only valid for 8 hours after a reset, so just note that. They can also call our support line and we can help them out right away as well. So we've just completed creating our staff members that will be working with students. And now in the navigation, it's time for our student administration. And here are our options to roster our students into Read Live. Now remember, ClassLink is going to be defined in ClassLink. So for any ClassLink school out there, this does not apply. Adding students manually or individually or by import doesn't apply in a ClassLink school. That comes from ClassLink One roster. So I have now chosen I'm either a Clever single sign-on school or I'm a Google Classroom single sign-on school. So in any case, we need to get our students logged or set up. So one way to do that is individually. So student setup, I would come as an administrator. You will be first at student administration, where I'm at right here, student administration, and then student setup. And now at the top, again, I'm just adding individually. I'm going to click add student. The fields identified with the asterisk in front are those that are required. The others are optional. So I'm going to type, who am I? Chloe. Chloe is going to be in 2nd grade, and she is going to go to Northview Elementary. Chloe needs a student user ID, which I'm just going to, for our demonstration, use her first name. And this is the ID that, excuse me, she would log in. Now I have to explain this. Okay, so this user ID and password, the student user ID and the student password that we're entering here is only used if you are logging in to our student module. Okay, and I'm going to show you that quick. So this is the student module. So I'd be logging here. This is the actual link. They use the same account ID and then this user ID and password that I'm creating over here. Okay, if you are doing single sign-on with either Google or Clever, this field is overwritten, or not overwritten, is overridden by the email address and the single sign-on, okay? This is a requirement of our application, and so we still need it in case people don't use Clever or Google. So again, you'll need to enter a user ID, but if you are a Clever or Google, it won't be used. It will be overridden by the email address and the Clever or Google single sign-on. So for our purposes, I'm going to put in Chloe's first name. I'm going to, I could put Chloe at somewhere.com, and I'm just going to make her password the same as her name, as her user ID. And now I've entered user ID and password, and now it says a license is available. License this student. I'm going to say yes. And now if I know the lead teacher, I will choose that teacher from my list of available teachers. Okay. If I do not know my teacher, my lead teacher, I would license the student but not assign a lead teacher just yet. The student can still access Read Live, can still work. Other teachers can help him work, but he just doesn't have anybody that's focusing on his data until, so we highly recommend you have a lead teacher. So when that is identified, a teacher can easily assign themselves as the lead teacher. These are those applications I talked about earlier. Anything here can be checked or unchecked. I am going to, these are the two by default, Read Naturally Live and 1 Minute Reader Live. And I am going to, these fields over here can be used to communicate with parents or guardians from within the application. However, not required. These are all optional over here. So I would just continue, save and close, or save and add another until I've added all of my students. So when do I stop doing them individually and when do I want to use the import? Well, if you've got 40 or fewer students to add, I think it's easy enough to do them individually this way. Takes less than a minute. Once you get in the groove, it'll just take a minute to add a student. So that's kind of doable. Above that, maybe easier to get exports out of your student information systems that you can then copy and paste into a template and, kind of work it throughout the day instead of being able to sit down and just, hammer them all out. So this particular student, I will save and close. I did not assign a teacher. This is what happens when you do not assign a lead teacher. I'm just going to confirm and say, yep, I know that. And the email I have already used. So let's put S in the bottom. I guess I've used Chloe before. All right, so Chloe has been added, and now, I would go on to roster the remainder of my students. You're noticing in my list here, again, I just want to point out these filters again. So I am looking at a number of students and I may want to narrow my list because it's kind of a big list and you're an administrator, so you will see everybody. Here's this grade filter. I can choose a grade level and click apply. And now I am only seeing my 4th graders. So don't forget about this filtering option. I'll click reset to get us all back to everything. So that is individually adding students. I'm going to go back one and we can do, well, here's our single sign-on setup for those accounts. So I'll click here. If you're doing ClassLink, this is your setup tile here. I'm going to click ClassLink, and this is what you want to work with your ClassLink administrator on. They will have this information and can help get this set up. You would click save. The students would then receive our app in their ClassLink dashboards, and we'd go from there. Here's our Clever single sign-on. Here's where that district ID that would be shared from your Clever administrator, where you would put that and then click save. That's basically all you need to do there. And then our other option is our Google Classroom. And here you just need to choose Google Classroom and then click save. And that is how you will get that, that Google setup. I'm going to find that link that people, this is the link that should be in that. I'm going to give this to you, Christy, in chat. All right, so Christy has that. Okay, so back to importing. So now if we don't want to do them individually, we want to do them a group at a time. I'm going to go to, again, student administration, and this time I'm going to choose student setup, or student import, I'm sorry. This is the steps you need to follow. We're going to click on importing student data. I will click on that. This is your really nitty gritty step-by-step instructions. What I really want you to get is this template. And I will open one up here. I'm going to have a hard time getting that over on that window. So the template that downloads, it has the same headers, column headers as we see in the adding manually or adding individually. So the CSV files, first column is first name, last name. There's a grade. You select the school, or no, you don't select a school, but you're entering a user ID, the student's email address, and password, all in this CSV spreadsheet. And when you're done and you've saved your spreadsheet, you will import it via staff member. Let me get this one. So I have created an import, and so I'm going to show you. So I am going to student import. I'm going to browse to my file that I saved in Excel or Google Sheets. All right, and here are my particular files. I'm going to show you one that has an error in it. So I'm just double clicking it. I do select the school that it's going to, and I'll click next. And here it tells me I have errors. Review your errors, correct them, and then come back and re-import. So as I scroll down, any highlighted, yellow highlighted field is the one that is incorrect. If you hover your mouse over the yellow area, it will tell you what is missing. So it's just a required field and it's missing, and it's student password. So I'd go back to my CSV file in Excel or Google Sheets. I would find Pim Hank or Hank Pim, and I would create a password and enter it into that spreadsheet, the same as John Smith. So I would go back, I'd click cancel here. You can also print an error log. If you have more than one or two errors, you can print this to get a reference. I'm reviewing my errors, so I know what I need to do. I'll click cancel. What I would have done is gone back to my spreadsheet, updated those errors, came back here and retried. Okay, and that would have gone through once I make those changes. I'm going to show you one now that is going to go through without an error. And I'll do the same thing. And I will send it to Michelle's school. And now here, I know I have no errors. I have no yellow boxes. It just tells me that the records that I should review for accuracy. So I'm happy with the way everything looks. I will click next. And I will clicking yes will proceed with scheduling your import. So the import is scheduled overnight. They happen overnight. Tomorrow, your students will be active in Read Live. So I want you to know, though, that once after an import and tomorrow. So one thing we noticed when I added a student individually, oh, I've got an import schedule. When I added him individually, I was able to license the student and assign a lead teacher at the same time. We can't do that yet in an import. So right now, my students are sitting in student setup in an active status, but not licensed. So your new students after an import would come in with status as active, but they are not licensed. Okay, so they do need to be licensed before they can log in and work in Read Live. And I'm going to show you that quick. So now it's the next day after my import. I know that I need to assign these students to a lead teacher. I will logging in. I'm at the home page. I'm going to click student administration. And now I'm going to go to student licensing. So I'll click student licensing. I was working in, we'll go to Northview Elementary. I am going to use my little sort options here to find only not licensed because I know these kids are not licensed. And so these are my students that are not licensed that need a lead teacher. I have to, what I'm going to do is select all the students that belong to the same lead teacher. Okay. And so what I'm doing here is in clicking, I clicked Anders box, and then I hold my control key down to click non-consecutive students. Okay. These are non-consecutive students. So I've checked these 5 students. I will say assign licenses to selected. Oh, I'm using all my licenses. Sorry. I'll just do 1, 2, 3. So I'll say assign licenses to selected. Here I'm going to choose my lead teacher and say, okay. Now those students fell off my list because now they're licensed, right? So those 3 kids are now off my list because they're no longer the status of not licensed. So I'll just do it again. I would find another group of kids and I would assign their lead teacher. Okay, I'm out of licenses right now, but you would just repeat that process for all of your lead teachers. Okay, that gets them access to the applications and then they are ready for the next step, which is placement. Christy, are there any questions? Anybody asking anything? Do you have anything that I should mention?
No, no questions so far.
Okay, nothing. Okay, I am going to go to the home page one more time. So again, just for reference, just to summarize, first three tiles, there's what we worked through. That was accountant school administration, staff member administration, and student administration. In order, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Those are the first 3 you're going to do to get the account set up and ready for student access. If you have students in your account that exist from last year, we have some things that we can help to clean up any of those students. If you're familiar with the student setup page, you can sort your students by last login to see who has recently logged in or maybe who has never logged in. That would be a key or an indicator of a student that you might want to remove. But we can help with those things over our support line as well. I want to mention our support site at our corporate website, readnaturally.com. Okay, we have a lot of information. First thing I want to touch base on is our Read Live help page. So hovering on Read Live, click Read Live help. And just to explain the page on the right side, we have a Read Live. Okay, so that's the suite. That's what holds all the applications. So here's some information on all of that. Here is the specific applications. Here's Read Naturally Live. Here's Word Warm-Ups Live, Read Naturally Live Español, and 1 Minute Reader on our help page. Lots of videos here on the left to step you through adding, setting up schools, setting up teachers. So be aware of this page. Also, I want you to note our training page. We have a lot of different options. We can do some in-person trainings. There are virtual trainings you can set up. There are online courses for teachers, and those are all described on our training page. We do as well have training guides for your students, along with lesson plans to help you teach your students how to use Read Live. With that, I think if we have no other questions, I will say goodbye, and I will urge you to please reach out if you have questions. Thank you for taking the time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.